Full. So everyone, please go around and introduce yourself. Starting with you, Jerry.
I'm Jerry Ford Jr. I'm a Master's Public Policy candidate at the University of Houston. Happy to be here.
I'm Stephen Massa. I'm a history teacher.
Nice. That's me. Oh, yeah, now be careful.
I'm James Burnett. It's good to be back here again.
It's Sam Blair, also known as Sam Blair on the Air, and again, it's always great to be here.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Jackie Valley. I'm a local political analyst in town. I show up at a couple of media sites all around town, and I also have a public affairs firm. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank all of you all for being here. So let's get into it. Let's start with, was it last week that healthcare got shut down? 2 weeks ago, healthcare got shut down. The Republicans have been saying for 7 years that they are going to repeal and replace Obamacare, and they control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House. However, it was not repealed. Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, said that Obamacare is the law of the land and it will be here for the foreseeable future. I personally was very happy about this. Because I was concerned about all the people who have health care and how the first 14 million, it would have been taken away from them by 2018, next year. I really had a concern about our elderly whose premiums and prices would have skyrocketed and they would have fallen off the planet quicker than they put together this terrible health care bill. So, a win for the people, I thought.
I definitely was not looking forward to them taking back Medicaid for a lot of people who were going to, definitely lose it, especially after, in Texas specifically, we didn't get the expansion of Medicaid with the Affordable Care Act, unfortunately. So when it got knocked out, I can't even pretend like I didn't get excited and cheer and have, this great, yes, we finally won. The resistance is winning, finally,
I don't drink, but I went out and had a drink. So I got that from that.
Drink?
Yeah, it was the first. Well, I mean, I'll do some more.
The next 4 years, you'll be drinking. No,
He's gonna last that long.
There are three factions he has to try to put together. Two of them are in the Republican Party, the conservatives and what we call the establishment, and then, of course, the Democrats. I've been saying that.
And what about the Freedom Caucus, them too?
Well, that
was okay. My bad.
The ones that he gave warning to today.
Yes, he did give warning today.
I've been saying from day one, look, Trump is not a Republican, or he's not a conservative, that's for sure.
He's
a populist. And so I thought from day one he's going to have a harder time with the own party that elected him than he will with anybody else. Mm-hmm. With all of that said, we have to be very careful when we say we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare, because we do have millions and millions of people who now have health insurance. We know a lot of people are complaining about premiums. We know a lot of people are complaining about, their doctors are dropped out and their facilities are dropped out. But for you to just put a plan in place and not have something that other people can buy into could be a problem. Because right now they can still say this is Obamacare. If they actually replace it with a law that millions upon millions of people need insurance, it's not on them. So before they present something to Congress, they need to get it. And I do think that something will be coming soon. As you saw the president threatening the Freedom Caucus, so stay tuned.
I
don't know. Nobody told 45 how this works. I guess he thinks that, since he's so used to being a CEO and the head and a business owner, I guess he just thinks that he can threaten people and they'll do what he says, that he can do whatever he wants, he can blatantly lie, things that we have on tape. He's acting like a dictator. He's acting like his BFF, Vladimir Putin. That's who he is.
And, I think a lot of people here, especially in Texas, were very disappointed a couple years ago when the Affordable Care Act was passed, because you had about 1.7, 1.8 million people who would have been insured in Texas, who would have decided to expand Medicaid, but we decided not to do that. But if you're a Republican right now, you're a conservative right now, you have to be upset. Because the last few years, you have really looked at said, look, we want to get the House back, get the Senate back, we want to repeal Obamacare because we don't like it, because you have this debate that's taking place, this ideological debate where you have people on the right who believe in this free market system. They say, well, look, we can have this free market healthcare system, and that's the best way forward for America. And then you have this other side on the left who believes in single payer. So Affordable Care Act was even hit from both sides, from the left and the right. And Republicans believe that they won that fight when they put Trump into the White House. And for Trump to present them with this crazy bill, because if I'm a Republican,
It's a
I'm
tax cut
pissed.
disguised
pissed.
as a bill.
And I'm like, this is
Horrible.
Obamacare. This is Obamacare, just worse. You know, this is worse than Obamacare. So I would be disappointed if I'm a Republican. I try to put myself in their shoes. If you believe in this free market ideology, you believe that health, this Rand Paul ideology of the healthcare system, you have to be very disappointed right now.
And didn't we try that way before though? And it didn't work.
I,
The whole trickle down.
I'm going to have to say that I agree with you that it's a win for the American people. I'm a Republican, but not upset about this law.
Me too.
I'm happy.
I'm not upset either.
No, I'm happy this fell apart. And the reason why I'm happy it fell apart is because it gives us a lesson about government when a bill
It gives him a lesson about
Yeah.
government.
gives him a lesson. It tells us that if the system works in the sense that a bill that's unpopular with both the left and the right has no chance of passing unless they try and ram it through. I'm happy about the outcome of the bill because it wasn't good for the left. It wasn't good for the right. It was a disaster. And I think that it's a good opportunity for us to scrap it and start all over again. What
Yeah,
I
I-
want to see is I want to see a healthcare bill that allows me to buy insurance across state lines so that we can be part of a larger pool and have our premiums go down. I think that that everything that the Republicans told us that was going to be bad about Obamacare has come to fruition. Our premiums have skyrocketed. I lost my doctor. She quit because
mine too.
because she couldn't handle the paperwork anymore. There were so many lies about it, and I think that whatever the Republicans replace it with has got to be better. I hope. And
Well, I
there's
hope
so
they
many.
take
There's
their
a
time
roadmap
this time
for us.
and really think it through.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, they had all that time to do that with Obama, but
Well, I think
they didn't want to cooperate. I mean, you could have worked with the man before 45 to get it right, but they
I
were
think
so
there's a
hell bent
roadmap
on.
for what we all want, and that's made clear for us by having everything that we don't want just collapse in this whole bit.
Well, I think the death of the self-ever came from one an inexperienced president. But I think it's the Republican Party didn't think that they'd be in power right now. I mean, since 2012, it looked pretty clear that Hillary Clinton was the heir apparent. So now that they're in office and they're like, oh, we can do this, they tried to push it through while they were still at their most powerful. Because they're going to be running for re-election in next year. The president's got 3 years before he's running for re-election. So it was priority one, okay, let's work on health care. So they put together a crap bill that the Freedom Caucus couldn't support, that their own party couldn't support. And you saw a president who couldn't rally his own party behind his own legislation because of his inexperience. And I think that ultimately led to the death of this bill.
That, and I think, the congressmen and women, their constituencies' foot was on their neck. I mean, I saw the town halls all over on YouTube and how, there was a rally cry. And I think that, most of these people in the House realize, like, oh, if I don't do what my constituents say that they want and need, I'm going to be out of a job next year. So I better listen to these people so I can keep my job, because I had a feeling that if it went through for the midterm elections, it would have been a bloody Monday or a bloody Tuesday in our case.
Definitely, but I think that he needed that little shot to his ego because, like, his whole rally cry on the campaign was, I'm going to repeal Obamacare immediately. I'm going to repeal it immediately. I'm going to drain the swamps. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So for him to get knocked down because he just wasn't prepared. The bill wasn't prepared. I think he needed that to realize that, you can't be a non-thorough president. You have to go through every single leap and bound until you know you're going. I don't think that he really knows his nation. That's my
I actually
I
think
think
that
that's
right.
his most important rally cry is the reason why I'm conservative is immigration. He started out his statements about immigration. I migrated from the islands, and so my parents came here legally. So I have a problem with people who have come here, who try to come here illegally and don't respect our laws. And that was the first thing. That's how he came out. He came out on immigration, about securing our borders, about terrorism. And members of his party and conservatives, that really, his first executive order that he did to try to combat terrorism is actually the rally cry to respond to what he was campaigning on. So the fact that his first health care bill was defeated To go back to your statement, I think you said as a Republican we should be disappointed. Most Republicans, I haven't heard of one Republican who is upset because we know we have at least 3 more years to see what's going to come out of this. And actually, what my colleague over here said is absolutely correct. Glad to get it out of the way early, learn the lesson, and now we know what to do next time.
See, I think my point is touching on that premise you just made the argument on. I don't believe that the Republican Party has as much time as you guys think you guys have at this. Because look, Donald Trump at this point, this is the most powerful he's going to be. In a couple of months, as these congressmen move towards 2018 in turn, they're going to look at Donald Trump's approval rating and realize that he is getting close to 30%. He's going to move on to tax reform. It's going to be harder now. So I don't believe that the Republican Party has as much time to recover from this fall. I think this was the Republican Party's only shot, because if you try to pull this back up in 2018, it's not just the Freedom Caucus you have to worry about. You're going to have to worry about a lot of these, these conservatives in these Republican areas, like a congressman here in West Houston who won a district that Hillary Clinton won during the election. So they have to look at, hey, I want to be reelected. So just as a lot of Democrats ran away from Obama in 2010, there's going to be people who's going to run away from Trump come midterms. This happened in 2010. It happened the time before. So this is as powerful as Trump is going to be. And if he failed now, he's only going to be weaker towards midterms.
You're being very short-sighted. First off, look at the timeline that's going on. We're in March right now. April's coming around the corner. Everybody knows what April 15th is. Best time to bring up tax reform, because that's when people are paying taxes and they're angry about taxes. It always bothers me that politicians bring up tax reform in November, all right, when April is 6 months away. Okay, you're going to see a wave of people saying we need to do something about taxes because this is a time of year that everybody's thinking about it. So to say that this is the most powerful Trump is going to be, yeah, I disagree with that. I think that, yes, we're in the honeymoon phase. I think the honeymoon phase is going to be a little shorter with Trump than it was with other presidents. I agree with you there, but I don't think that this is the demise of Trump. I mean, I don't even think we're close to that.
Well, I don't believe it's the demise. I think we can agree that tax reform is going to be a little harder now.
I think tax reform is...
I think it's going to be a little harder. So my question is, when are we going to move back towards health care? And if you're talking about towards 2018, it's going to be even harder to pass health care in 2018.
I think you should have done taxes first.
Yeah, I
taxes
agree.
or infrastructure or something else.
Anything but healthcare.
Something else first.
So I have a question for the round table. Does the president truly have a mandate to lead? Is Brewer Razor in the low 30s? He's got half his party doesn't want to go.
No, actually
36, okay, to mid 30s.
Okay, Rasmussen just came out and they said it was 49. So it depends on which poll you're going to look at.
I take
Is Brewer Razor low? He's having problems getting his own party to get behind him.
Yeah.
So does he truly have a mandate to lead?
I think that's an excellent question, because my view, sitting here thinking about all this, I don't think that Trump necessarily won the election. I think Hillary lost the election.
That's what I said Sunday. It's
Yeah.
not about you, it's about who you're running against.
Well,
I think
he won through the electoral
Hillary
college. I mean, the
was
popular vote was
honestly-
3 million.
Yeah,
so
I
I don't know
don't.
if that
That's because
holds
they say
any
Hillary lost.
weight,
That's because he
really.
worked those states
I don't
the
think
most,
Trump
though.
has got a mandate by any means, because he won with very narrow margins. But I think it says more about Hillary as a candidate, because we have to face
It says a lot because Vladimir Putin hates Hillary
Oh,
Clinton.
good segue.
It was
Why would you
his,
go
but
back
that
to
was
him?
his main thing. When she called him out back in 2011 for the treacherous things that he's done over there, and even if you look back this week, his own people in his own country are protesting him because the election that's happening over there is messed up and it's dirty. His own people don't even mess with him like that. So he has this vendetta against Hillary. He didn't want her in. The KBG and all of the spies and all these folks,
But I
they
don't
came in
know-
here and they infiltrated
I don't know
our
why
system.
Hillary
They threatened
did.
our democracy. They have threatened our sovereignty, and nobody seems to be upset. I'm telling you, this Russia thing is going to affect us
Well,
more
my
than we
question-
do.
my
How is it
question
that
is-
we are now in bed with our #1 foreign adversary, and everybody thinks that it's freaking okay? It's not okay. I care about this country first. Forget
why-
Republican, forget Democrat. It's America first for me. And for everybody to be so nonchalant about Russia, you're ignorant.
So we've come to the point of now saying that, yes, we understand that Russia tampered in our elections. How far is that going to go? Like, where does that end? What's going on?
Proof of that.
Well,
Oh my God, really?
It's going to come out. All the dots are.
Russia tampered.
Everybody. I mean, like this is.
I mean-
It's so mind
about that
blowing.
across
But why do
any
you all? So Steve, tell me, why is it okay for us to like Vladimir Putin in Russia?
Since the Cold War.
I don't think.
But
yeah.
why are Democrats more upset about what was exposed about your own party? I mean,
Yeah.
to me, you saw your leadership, you saw what they were saying about Hispanics, you saw what they were saying about Jews, you saw how they were trying to rig the elections. Why aren't any Democrats upset about that? They've been saying Republicans are racist, 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 when those documents said they're racist. Why is everybody so quiet about all that?
Well, I think that rigged narrative, I think that's very disingenuous.
Read the documents.
You have the background information on this because it made Hillary look bad that when she ran for president. One, because a lot of people didn't jump into the race right away. One reason because everybody said in 2013, 2014 that this is going to be a nasty race between two heavyweights. It's going to be Joe Biden versus Hillary Clinton. So nobody got into the race. When Joe Biden decided not to run, it made it look like that Hillary, everything was just set for Hillary. And then you had a Bernie Sanders guy. As we talked about healthcare earlier, as you remember, the ACA was getting hit from the right and also the left. Bernie was pissed off that Obama took out the public option. And you remember in 2012, Bernie Sanders was threatening to really spit in the face of Obama by primary him in 2012. So you already had these bad feelings coming into the 2016 primary in the Democratic Party where you had these people who didn't like Bernie Sanders, and then you had Hillary Clinton who looked like, whoa, they just gave her the primary. So you had the Republican Party attack her for 30 years. You had this whole Russia situation, and then she wasn't that great of a candidate. And I'm not saying that Russia's the reason why she lost. Nobody told her not to go to Wisconsin. Nobody told her not to, go to some of these states. But at the end of the day, you have to understand, what is reality. And a lot of people are upset because Russia is not just doing this in the United States. They're doing this in Germany right now.
Yeah,
They've
they're
been
doing it
doing
in
this.
France.
They've been doing this.
And the Republicans, to your point, Jackie, like if you all think that you all are exempt, don't be so
I don't
naive
think
because
I've heard any
they
Republicans say that.
Russia they're just probably holding off on the Republicans. They only released Democrat stuff. It was reported that they got into the RNC as well.
Right,
They just
right.
didn't release it.
I don't
So
think I've heard
they
any
have things on the
Republicans say
Republicans,
that they approve of the
just
letter.
like they
There's-
have. I didn't say that, but they have things on the Democrats, just like they've got things on the Republicans as well. So
I think
whenever
we're-
they decide
Dirt
to
is
use
dirt.
their arsenal on that party, like, don't
I think
be
we're
so
confusing
surprised.
a couple different issues here. Okay, number one, if we take Hillary Clinton as a candidate, she was about as inspiring as a dead fish as a candidate. She really was. She was a terrible candidate. She couldn't speak very well. And her main campaign mantra was vote for me because I'm a woman. Okay? No,
Give me the mic. I'm talking
no
next.
politics 101. I learned this in literally my political science 101 class in college. If you are a candidate and you expect to win an election, you probably will lose. That's the history there. If you seem entitled to the electorate, you're going to lose.
And she did seem entitled.
Okay.
And she
I'm
did
not
seem
denying
entitled.
that.
Now,
But when you sit in front of a
I
TV
think-
and you openly
I think she
offer a
was-
foreign adversary to look into
no.
something, I mean,
She
that's
was the
pretty
one who
damning.
sold, 3/4
She
of
was the
our
one who was
uranium
pay
to the
for play.
Russians. Okay?
Yeah, and so was
She-
Paul Manafort.
Well, I
And
don't-
so
I
was
don't
Michael
make any-
She
Flynn.
was a
Yeah.
terrible candidate.
Well, I don't make any excuses.
And then you have Bernie Sanders, who is the oldest, whitest guy out there, come around and somehow motivate the youngest, most diverse group of voters out there, which astonished me. Astonished me. I
Surprised
thought
too. Like,
I
wow,
thought
what a great
Bernie
granddad to
had-
be.
I thought Bernie had something that he could have actually pulled that off if he was allowed to, but the email showed us that they didn't allow him. And it proved that the Democratic Party was more corrupt than we ever even imagined that they were.
And I'm not hearing any Democrats talking about that.
Okay,
They're talking
well-
about Russia, but what about what Russia actually revealed to all of us
Okay.
about the party?
But
Exactly.
also what I'm saying is that we're turning everything back on the Democrats when we're talking about policy. But even if we're going to do that, let's think about Trump. You're saying that Hillary wasn't a good candidate. What made Trump such a good candidate? Because he was a celebrity? Because he owned a lot of stuff?
No, I'm
because his
saying
dad
that- I'm
gave him
saying
a
that-
small
that
$1 million
Trump was
loan?
not-
Like, what?
I'm saying what made Trump exciting to Republicans is he came out and said what everybody was thinking.
No, Trump was an entertainer. I don't think he was saying
No,
what
no,
everyone was
Yeah,
thinking.
I think
Well,
he
everyone
was
is
on
thinking
the
that, then
guy from
that's-
Apprentice.
Because he was saying
And then they
Bill-
ended up getting.
He's saying
Okay,
he
but
was
Trump's
saying
thinking
let's
though.
balance the budget. He's saying everything that that Republicans are like, yeah, this is what we want to hear.
So he's a
Well,
candidate.
you guys wasn't right
and
behind him
Hillary
from the
said,
first.
vote for me because I want to be the first woman president. And there was no substance behind that campaign.
Here's the deal. if you look at Donald Trump when he first came out and he was running for president, you had this big movement, this anti-Trump movement in the Republican Party. You cannot tell me that the RNC and some people in the Republican establishment wasn't against Trump and they don't hate
that's-
Trump.
you
See what I'm saying? And that's why I brought up that background information about Bernie Sanders. Why there was a lot of people inside of the Democratic establishment who didn't like Bernie. It wasn't just because he was
Right.
Bernie Sanders.
So what
he
this
had
election-
history to it. So to expose emails that shows that there was some friction in the Democratic Party, there was friction in the Republican Party also. So don't,
There's
it's not
huge
like the
friction.
Democratic
And
Party was
what's-
just corrupt
what's
against
happening
Bernie. This
is-
is normal.
What's happening is the inside the Beltway establishment has no idea what's going on, and they're afraid that they're going to be out of power because the Trump, populists are coming in. And I think that it's a big wake-up call for the Republicans, and I think it's a good thing, okay? Because my congressman, I voted for the Democrat in my congressional election because I didn't want my establishment Republican representative representing me anymore. So I decided to go vote for a Democrat, thinking it would be easier to get a Democrat out of office in 2 years in my district than for a guy that's been there for 30 years.
To go back to your comment, I don't think that Republicans think that Donald Trump was such an eloquent speaker or
No.
the best politician. What he did was he spoke on simple terms. You have middle America, the Midwestern America, the heart of America, who felt that the Democratic Party left them. Even Joe Biden said that his party left them. And those were the ones who usually, they all voted for Barack Obama twice. And they voted for Donald Trump this time because they felt this was their chance for someone to listen to them. It was the coal miners. Remember when Hillary said, just get rid of the coal miners? It's a lot of blue collar workers. And so that's why people will say, well, I don't understand how Donald Trump got elected. It's because he broke it down for the simple person who felt like he didn't have a party anymore.
But then at the same time, it was the accountability after that. And then it was also the tweeting. It was also just kind of the way he carried himself. It was leaving and deciding not to do ethics training. There were so many factors that follows this. Him being able to.
Because he didn't decide to do ethics training.
Well, we always
Well, I'm
compare,
saying no, but these are
we
fundamental
always
values of
compare
picking your
presidents to the predecessor, correct?
Got it.
So Donald Trump is succeeding one of the most eloquent speakers, and Barack Obama carried himself with a certain air to him, right? He's a very scholastic. He's a very smart man. So when you have someone that is an Ivy League person, and you have someone who's self-made, there's going to be a difference in how they carry themselves. And so there is. And so the fact that everyone is always comparing, he had a couple of millions, but now he's worth billions. So he wasn't a billionaire. He wasn't born a billionaire.
I
I
agree with that.
I
I
mean,
kinda agree
if
with
we're
that. Yeah, and I think that I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I understand the attraction to Donald Trump. And as I said this, I think a couple months ago, I thought Hillary in a primary hugged Obama, but in the general, she should have hugged Bill Clinton's economic record and had a more of an economic message right there in Pennsylvania, right there in the Midwest. Should have had Joe Biden out there. I was a Joe Biden supporter. I was really upset when he didn't run because I thought Joe was going to win because he speaks that language.
Joe thinks Joe's gonna win.
And it wasn't that Hillary was just a bad candidate. I think her message was kind of cut off because she was just in awe that Donald Trump was the nominee. So she spent all day just criticizing Trump's personality. And then you look back at the
And
whole
remember,
whole
they were
Russia
good
thing.
friends too.
Yeah, look at the Russia thing. I noticed Russia in the primary. A lot of people don't talk about this, but I think Rachel Maddow had a show the other day and she discussed this. Russia was pushing stuff in the primary. So when you say, where did Bernie come out of nowhere? I remember talking to 18, 17-year-olds who said, I hate Hillary Clinton. I said, why?
Those
Well,
bots
she
that they
killed
put
somebody.
in.
She did that.
The bots
and
that
they
Russia
found
did.
there was a report the other day that found out that the KGB in Russia, they had this big old area where they had like thousands of people who were just sending out fake information. And look, so you have all this going on, and it led up to what ended up happening with Hillary's mistakes. She made a lot of mistakes at the end of the election. But it's just disappointing that
And
we're at the
actually,
point
she
right
would have
now.
listened to her husband because he was documented everything that happened. He told the
Yes, he did.
campaign that this was going to happen, and they ignored him. He is one of the most politically astute people.
Absolutely.
And if you have him as your husband, listen to him, and they didn't.
I mean, that was the last time we saw ourselves in the surplus. I wouldn't have been so against that,
Guys, what a quick 30 minutes. Sorry, we got
Already?
to cut this already.
I hate when that happens.
Thank you to the panel, everyone. everyone, Jackie, Sam, Steve, Jerry, I appreciate you all. And James, I'm sorry,
It's all
James.
good.
James Burnett, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for listening to Access Houston.